All right, thank you very much, Professor O'Malley. It's great to be here with you guys today. I'll probably start up here and then walk around a little bit. I was going to tell you a little bit about myself, but I think you've said a bunch there about me. I did start off in this business at the lowest levels. I started off as an intern, a runner, logger, stats, you name it. I went out there and I tried to do that, and it was a good base. It was a good experience. I always wanted to be in media, in TV, in entertainment, and it was a passion of mine going back, to the youngest days. I explored engineering, I explored management and business, but I always gravitated back towards television and media and entertainment. And I said, you know what? That's my passion. I'm going for it, and it has worked out. Has worked out great. At NBC is really where things really started to take off. I was probably about 5 years out of college. I was producing at some startups, which is great. Always encourage people to try that. If there's some, companies out there that are starting up, get in on the ground floor. I was producing, I was writing, I was out in the field, but I realized, hey, I wanted to be with the big boys. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take a step down and go in as a PA. And I got a job at NBC, and it was fantastic. I went in there, and they had everything: NFL, NBA, French Open, Wimbledon, Olympics, and just put my head to the grindstone, put my nose down, and really kind of rose up the ladder there. And it was a really good base. But I realized that you can get stuck in a rut, and I didn't want to be there all my life in the same spot and take 10 years to move up. So I decided after about 4 years there, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to move around. And I jumped to 2 more startups after spending 4 years at the network. I worked at a startup down in Atlanta for the Olympic Committee. I knew they had a short lifespan, 3 years we were done. Another startup that was a business and sports station. It was a great idea. I loved it because it was a great idea. Business during the day and sports at night. Worked out of the World Financial Center down across from the World Trade. And then from there, that's where I ended up at CBS. I came in there again I took a little step back. I was producing. I said, you know what, I'm going to jump in at a lower level and then prove myself again. And that's what I did, and figured out. I started off as an associate producer, worked my way up as producer, and eventually to the level that I'm at now, which is executive producer. What is the vice president of production, executive producer? What do I do? I oversee everything, all of the content that goes into any sports broadcast on CBS. The graphics, the stats, the replays, the storylines. I work with all the producers and the directors and make sure that we're following the storylines, we're following the trends of the game. It's tough to describe, but it's a pretty thrilling and exciting place to be on a Saturday or Sunday when we've got dozens of games coming into our building. We're producing 8 games, and there's literally about 50 monitors that I watch, and trying to take in all that information and manage that, and making sure we're on the right track with each game, as well as making sure we get in all our commercials, which everybody says is the most important thing in our business, because that's what pays the bills, is the commercials. So I oversee all the content and all of the announcers, all of the producers, all the directors, all the people that put those games on that you love to see, all of the Giants games, and no, we're the AFC package, so we really cover mostly Jets and Patriots. But I am a Giants fan. We get a couple of those a year that we get to do, so it's always thrilling. The other thing that I do is I keep our group, our division, focused. It's not, you don't just show up at a game and trucks roll up and boom, we do it the day of. It doesn't work like that. Putting on an event takes weeks, months of planning. We start planning, let's take the biggest event we do, which is the Super Bowl. We'll have it next year in 2013 in New Orleans. We start planning now. 12 months out, we're planning. There is a lot of research and a lot of just big picture ideas that go into it, as well as all the little details. We plan down to the smallest possible detail where a car is going to park, when you come in for our crew. But how many cameras, how many tape machines, how many microphones on the field, all of that stuff has to be planned out. We first start off with what we call surveys. We go out to all the stadiums and we look at them and we figure out, camera will be great there. Let's get a low end zone so we can see those great shots of players coming at you. Maybe we'll try an overhead camera. So we go on these surveys and then we budget it out. Budget's, of course, very important. So we budget these things out and then we start assigning people to work on them. And like a big event, like I said, takes a year to plan. And when we get there, it takes 2 weeks to set up. The Super Bowl, we start 2 weeks in advance, bringing in scaffolding and platforms to put our cameras on, bringing in our trucks and thousands of feet of wire, thousands, miles, as a matter of fact, by the time you're done, so we can get all the cameras in place. So there's a lot of planning that goes into what we do. So my job is to keep us focused. Besides stuff that happens on the weekend, during the week, we keep it focused, keep it on track, make sure we're planning properly, make sure we're thinking ahead, and then eventually we have to execute. I'm also, the third part of my job, there's the weekend part, which is the actual production of the games, there's the planning, and then there's thinking ahead. Our business is constantly evolving. There is, whether it's social media, digital technology, different types of cameras, virtual technology, new announcers, all those elements, I'm looking ahead, I'm planning, trying to come up with how we're going to integrate those into our broadcast. If there's a great young announcer out there that works for Comcast, I might bring them in for an interview, do an audition, find a game that might not be as widespread to try that person out on. So I'm always planning for the future, looking ahead as things evolve. What we've come to find in our industry is creative thinking is a really important part of everything that we do. Technicians have to be creative in what type of shot they want to get. Producers thinking about what type of replays, and as well as in the management side on how we can creatively manage our budgets or work with the leagues to come up with ways to get in more commercials. There's a lot of creative thinking that goes into what we do, as well as just trying to envision the future. Hey, maybe there's a new type of camera we want to use. We're always talking about things. And we reach out. We talk to students. We do polls online. We talk to older viewers, younger viewers, to try to figure out what works. Is there we're discussing on golf. is there a way we can come up with some type of tracking camera that can track the ball wherever it goes? Sometimes you go, wow, where'd that shot go? We have a version that you can use on short holes, on par threes, but we want one that can go on long holes and also tell the distance exactly, pinpoint. So, thank you. So we're always thinking about the future, trying to come up with creative ideas. Before I came down here, I was reading an industry magazine. It's called Sports Business Journal, and they had a survey in there, and it said 1,500 American CEOs cited leadership as the single most important leadership component of the future. Creativity, not math, science, or educational pedigree, or old-fashioned work ethic. Sorry, professors. It was creativity that was important. So you have to think about that. When you go out into this world, don't be afraid to express if you've got ideas on how to improve the business that you're working in. Hopefully it's TV and marketing and advertising. Use those ideas. Throw them out there. CBS, you can see, we're one of the biggest media companies in the world. In the country, of course, we're one of the biggest. We've got everything at CBS. We've got the digital side. We've got radio. We've got publishing. We own Simon & Schuster. We've got outdoor signage. CBS is a huge company. We've got cable stations, Showtime and CBS Sports Network. We do movies out of some studios in LA and entertainment. And the thing that we're finding now is we have to figure out a way at CBS to use all of our resources, bring it all together. And that's kind of what we're in a stage now where in the sports area, we've never done that. We've always been, hey, your TV, you do your thing. Your radio, you do your thing. Your Showtime, your digital. The push now is to bring us all together, find out ways where we can work cross-platform. That's the catchphrase, cross-platform. And so that's our biggest project that we're working on, how we can shoot video, show it on TV, then stream it, write a story about it, package it, and customize it for the discerning viewer. Nowadays, people want stuff that is customized to you. You want to know about your team. You don't necessarily want to know just general sports. You want to know about the Eagles. You want to know about the Giants. Whatever it is that you want to know about, and that's our goal now, is to really customize and promote across all platforms. Again, as we go along, feel free. I'd love to get questions from you guys and see what you guys are interested in and what direction you guys want to take it, because I can answer, a bunch of questions and go in certain ways, and feel free, just raise your hands. CBS is a $14 billion company. It's huge. It's rated in the media. Fortune has rated CBS as the number 9 media company in the country. $14 billion in revenue. So pretty big company. CBS Sports, we're a division of entertainment. Sports is entertainment. We spend a big chunk of the money at CBS. We spend a big chunk of the money. And can anybody figure out what we spend it on? You've probably seen all the deals in the papers. Exactly. Media rights. Media rights is what we spend it on. We just did a deal with the NFL. And all of the networks did. Fox, Re-Up, ESPN, NBC. We're basically paying for the next 10 years, each one of the networks, $1 billion a year just for the right to cover it. Oh yeah, you can have we cover about 115 games a year. Yeah, we have to pay the NFL $1 billion. Why is that? It's because it's a guaranteed audience. We know that our network knows that it's going to pull in a certain rating and a certain type of viewership. It's going to, sports in general, is not a DVR type thing you watch on TV. It is here and now. So it's really what we call the last true appointment television. You can tape all sorts of shows. You can tape your CSIs of the world and your Modern Families. But sports, it's immediate, and you have to see it. And that's why it's actually risen above everything else that's out there. It's bigger than American Idols of the world, and those are shows that do great. But sports is still appointment television, and all the networks realize that it is the pillar of what they do. If they don't have it, especially the NFL is by far the number one sport. It is America's sport. It used to be baseball years ago. Basketball grew for a little while in the Michael Jordan era, but right now it's football. There's nothing that can compare to football. The ratings are, 10 times what any other sport is. And as you heard, we had the opportunity 2 years ago to broadcast the Super Bowl, and it got the highest number of viewers ever. We broke it was almost a 27-year record. The last show, the highest rated show ever, was the conclusion of MASH back in the early 80s. And it took 27 years for us to break that record, but everyone knew it was going to be sports. Eventually there was going to be an event, and it was a Super Bowl. And every year, this year is going to break that record. No doubt, the Giants and the Patriots, they're going to break our record, and hopefully next year, we'll continue. We'll break, we'll keep going. We'll break that record, the Giants record.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you don't go back as far as I do. Nobody does, right? Thank you, Jerry. Just in comparison, the game that really made the NFL, of course, was the 58 championship game between the Giants and the Colts.
The greatest game ever, right? Yeah.
That was on CBS, wasn't it?
That was on CBS. Yes, it was. It was on CBS.
My question is, what has changed more, the size of the media deals or the way in which you cover the game? I mean, I imagine that game there were 4 or 5 cameras.
Right.
Replay.
Right.
Very, very limited graphics on the screen. Nowadays we have high definition with all the tools and the toys and the camera that runs around the field on top of the action. So, in your sense, what's changed more, the business side or the production side, or is it really kind of a?
They go hand in hand. But the business side has really changed more. We could still do a game with 8 cameras, and everyone will be happy. We can still show up at a football game, set up 8 cameras, and show the action on the field with a basic cover cam and a couple nice tight ISOs and maybe the quarterback camera. It'd be fine, and we still get pretty much the same rating. We in this production business, we love to think that production influences the rating. But we know in reality, we don't really influence the rating really that much. Maybe a great replay will influence it. Maybe we're promoting something that's going to happen in the show at halftime where you're going to see Madonna at the Super Bowl. Maybe that'll impact it. But for the most part, it's the quality of the game on the field. And the media that surrounds now is besides the finance, it's the media around the buildup of all these events now. It's ESPN going 24/7. It's specialty networks. It's MLB Network. It's NFL Network. It's NHL, it's NBA TV. All these specialty networks, these niche networks, that's what builds these sports up, and it drives everybody to want to watch more. But the business has changed. The business is, sports back in the 60s and the 50s and even the 70s, the rights were negligible, and the networks were making a ton of money until finally the executives at the leagues caught on, like, hey, you guys are making all this money. We need to get in on this. And as soon as the owners and the leagues got in it, then the players just said, hey, wait a minute. You guys are making a lot of money. We need to make money. And that's, again, what happened. You see it all the time now with these lockouts and strikes. Because the business side of it has changed so much, everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody, the owners, the leagues, the advertising, the marketers, and then eventually the players. And for the players, it's been a golden era for them. Everyone keeps saying it. How can it get any better? But as long as we're willing to pay $1 billion for football, it's going to get better for the players and the owners. Before we go any further, again, if you got any questions, let me know. But I just want to give you guys a little sample. I'll show you a little DVD about CBS and some of the sports that we cover. Sometimes in this market out there, it gets a little crazy. You don't even remember anymore what you're tuning into. You follow a team, or you follow a game or an event, and you don't realize which stations put it on. And I want to give you an idea of what we cover here.
We may have had a foul. That pass stolen. Lamb on his way. Pass Walker raised. Look at it goes. The Huskies are the top dog in 2011. And probably with the fish pump, he said about time. Takes the Masters 2011. This is as good as it gets. Wonderful. The greatest year we've ever seen in the sport of tennis right there. That's hard. It's a block. Bryant run. Barclays Mays. Matthew passes up Gretchen, 38-yard line. Makes the tackle. It's for the corner. He's done it again. A fantastic year this team's had. Roethlisberger rolls out, goes to the end zone, has his man. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. 10-5 touchdown. That's a touchdown! Denver 18 over 1! Thomas at the 50, stiff arm down 3 to the 30, to the 20, Thomas to the 10. They win it on the first play of overtime.
So that's a little bit about what we do. The business has evolved where the networks used to be 3, CBS, NBC, ABC. They used to be the big dogs out there, and anything that they said goes. They could go anywhere, go into a stadium. Hey, we're the guys. We're broadcasting it. You got to do what we say. The industry when ESPN came along in '79 and started to take on all of these other sports in early rounds of the basketball tournament, of the NCAA tournament, they picked up hockey and baseball and eventually into NBA and NFL. The industry started to change. We realized that there's an insatiable, almost an insatiable lust for sports. People want to see it all the time. And what's happened is the networks now are really focused, and I used this word earlier, and we were talking about it earlier. We're niche broadcasters. We produce, as a network, CBS, we produce big events. That's what we care about now. We used to produce all this other great stuff. Gymnastics and swimming and diving and ice skating was big. And we used to go and do cliff diving and dog sled race up in Alaska. You name it. We would span the globe, ABC, NBC, CBS. But now it's changed. We are focused on big events because there's so much tonnage out there on other networks, 24 hours. We try to make these big events special. We say, okay, we're not a 24-hour sports network. We can't compete with them 7 days a week. We're not about tonnage anymore. We're about taking one event, making it special. And for you to remember it and go, oh my God, I remember that replay. That was the definitive look, and what a great experience. And that's what we try to do. So we focus on the NFL. We took the best, what we think is the best college conference, the Southeastern Conference, for the best quality college football. NCAA tournament, it's unmatched by anything really in pure excitement is the NCAA tournament. And golf, we really focused on golf in the late 90s and into the 2000s with Tiger helping build up golf. And one person can build up a sport, and he did. And then the U.S. Open. It's a great tennis event up in New York in Flushing Meadows. So those are kind of our 5 kind of key areas that we focus on. And we just do everything we can to make it just the perfect experience for the viewer. One of our toughest challenges is holding on to those big events. Everyone's coming after us. Hey, Fox wants a piece, and they ended up getting NFL in the mid-'90s, and ESPN wants something, and Turner wants something, and Comcast wants something. Everybody's coming after these big events. So we just focus, take our money and our resources and apply them to those big events. One of the deals that we did was a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now. We did the deal right after the 2010 NCAA tournament. We realized that viewing of the NCAA tournament was not the best experience anymore. There would be 4 games going on at once during the first week of the tournament. 4 games at once. Well, we didn't have 4 networks. We only had 1 network. So what we would do, we would carve the country up. We have the ability to carve the country up into as many areas as we want. We carved it up, and we'd say, okay, you're down here in Philly and the surrounding area, Pennsylvania. We're going to give you guys the St. Joe's game and whoever they're playing. You know what? Up in Connecticut, UConn's playing. We're going to give you guys a UConn game. And then out in LA, we're going to give you the UCLA game. But if you're a St. Joe's fan living in LA, you couldn't watch the game. And we realized, you know what? This is not going to work. And all these other networks are coming after us. ESPN, hey, we've got 4 networks. We can show it. NBC and Comcast was doing their deal. They said, you know what? We've got 4 networks. We'll put some on CNBC, MSNBC, NBC, Versus. We can show it. Turner said, hey, we can do it. We'll show it. We got all sorts of networks. So we decided to partner And it was a really big change of philosophy for us. But we partnered with a cable outlet. We partnered with Time Warner and Turner. And we said, you know what? Great. You guys bring 3 cable stations to the table. We'll bring our one main network. We're going to go in and throw $1 billion at them a year. And sure enough, we ended up keeping the tournament and providing a better experience. And that was because of viewers. Viewers wanted to see all the games. They wanted to be able to sit in LA and watch a St. Joe's game. They wanted to be able to sit in Florida and watch a UConn game. And last year, we got an overwhelming response. 91% of the people said this was the better experience than they ever had watching the tournament. So that was a really big success for us, but it was a really difficult thing, bringing two cultures together. Turner, based out of Atlanta, CBS, kind of the old school production out of New York, trying to bring that together and say, how can we work? How can we make it be one production? How does it look the same, sound the same? We've got great talent. We've got Jim Nance, CBS's side. Marv Albert was working for Turner. We've got Ernie Johnson in the Turner studio. We've got Greg Gumbel in the CBS studio. How do we bring that together? And that was when it comes to planning, I spent pretty much close to a year just along with producing all these other events, but working on that and working with their group, bringing it all together. And it was seamless. And no one, as a viewer, you never knew what was going on. You never knew that we were 2 companies. It looked like one broadcast, and it was very successful. It was a very successful broadcast of the tournament last year, and we're working on it again, and it's going to be the same, hopefully even a little bit better this year. Yes.
Was there any ever consideration to do it on one network and give the viewer an opportunity to pick on one channel instead of an on-demand type thing?
Yes, sure. So the question is, did we ever look at putting the tournament onto one network and giving the viewer an on-demand capability to select your game? Yes, and that actually still exists. The tournament is on DirecTV as well. So we've also taken part of our rights and sold them to DirecTV to get a little bit more cash as well. So DirecTV now, if you subscribe to DirecTV, and this was going on for years, and not that many people, DirecTV doesn't have the level of viewership that you would think it should. But for 10 years, the tournament was on DirecTV. And you could have subscribed to DirecTV and picked whatever game you want. You could put the mosaic up, they call it, and watch all 4 games at once. Kind of what I do. I watch them all in the control room. But you could do that. So that still exists. And about 6 or 7, maybe 8 years ago, we actually put the tournament online. And you were able to sit at your desk, sit at your laptop, desktop, whatever, and you could pick a game and watch it online. But that still didn't satisfy the viewer. Most people, you have the option of your 10-inch computer screen or a 50-inch HD screen. You're going to want to watch your big HD screen. So we had to come up with another way, and that's when we went to a partnership. We started, the deal was done in April of 2010. We started negotiations with the NCAA about a year early, so about 2009. We started that negotiation, and it was, as our business affairs people tell me and our lawyers, it was one of the toughest deals because CBS is a union shop, so we've got union technicians, we've got union directors. Turner was a non-union shop. Time Warner and Turner, they're based out of Atlanta. And so now we're trying to put, again, 2 cultures together as well as figure out the finances. Who's going to pay what? Well, we're only one quarter of the games are going to be broadcast on CBS, but we have higher ratings than TNT and TBS. So now you're all sorts of, the other catchword that we use now, all sorts of metrics were going into it, trying to figure out which group is going to pay what, and all sorts of statistical formulas, which I'm sure some of you guys are working on, but it applied. We had people working all the time just trying to figure out these formulas that who pays what. There was someone else. I thought I saw someone else with a question. Yes.
Major competition that you're in with ESPN, CBS, ABC, everybody out there. From a production standpoint, how do you try and differentiate yourselves from the other broadcasts? So I do know I'm watching ABC, or I do know I'm watching.
Right. That's a very good question. The question is, how do we differentiate ourselves from the other broadcasters, Fox and NBC and ESPN? Branding. That's basically the question. How do we brand ourselves? How do you know it's CBS? And we do that. A lot of that is done through, believe it or not, graphics. What you see on the screen graphically. We come up with our look, our eyeball, our colors. We focus a lot on. CBS is big into the blues. Our graphic look is blue and white and blue and gold and a little bit of silver in there. So we try to make it distinctive so that you turn on and you see it. That's CBS. We also, our style of broadcasting. I'll give you an example. Fox is a very. They try to come off. They want to say that they're very edgy. So they've added. Years ago, they tried the hockey puck with the glow to it, or they've got a lot of heavy-duty mechanical sounds on their replay wipes and on the transitions. So they try to distinguish themselves that way. They have this guy. They have the robot that is their kind of signature element. We do it. We're a little bit more classic in your coverage. We try to be a little bit more intellectual with our guys. Let's say Phil Simms in football, Clark Kellogg in basketball. We're going to show you the traditional play-by-play. We're going to show you a great replay, let's say, of a receiver and a defender running down the sideline. But we also try to use more of the educational tools, which is the telestrator, which is what we call the high all 22 camera. So you can see all 22 players on the field. And then the analyst, Phil Simms, can draw on it and say, this guy took a post pattern and the defender slipped or was out of position or the zone wasn't working. So we use those tools to try to educate you and make it more intellectual broadcast, engaging, and we do the same thing in basketball. But I'd say graphics and music. Music is another thing you'll see that One Shining Moment is a very famous tune that you hear all the time on CBS during the tournament. Things that just they remind you, oh yeah, that's CBS, and even eventually the announcers, they become associated with the networks. I know you can go back to it. Nowadays the announcers jump ship; they go from place to place. But years ago, I went through watching football for years, and CBS was always Summerall and Madden. And everyone knows Madden as the game now, but he was a great announcer. And before that, he was a great coach. But for 15, 20 years, he was CBS. It was Pat Summerall and John Madden as the main announcers, and you always heard them. So.
How have you been able to grow your brand using social media like Facebook and Twitter?
Good question. Good question. That is something we're still trying to figure out. What we are doing now in that area, we've actually just created an area that's a social media area. We brought on people that can manage our social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, whatever we're trying to get into. We try to get our announcers to tweet. We post pictures on Facebook. We try to get you behind the scenes. We're trying to give you a little bit of an experience that you don't see on the camera. So that's how we're using the social media aspect. Maybe engaging a little bit with some of the announcers. You'll see guys like Seth Davis or Greg Anthony or Boomer Esiason that will reply. If you tweet them a question, they might not reply to all of them, but occasionally one will jump out and they'll reply. And we try to engage that way. through social media. It's an area where we're really trying to figure out what to do. We're talking now about, do we, during games, do we somehow put up tweets that are relevant to the game? There's a company out there called Mass Relevance. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's a company that will take tweets from all over the globe, all over the world, and they'll categorize them for us. They'll count them if they're all about one topic, and they'll even pull out certain, like if we're looking for celebrities, and Tom Hanks, or Brad Pitt, tweets, "Hey, what a great game. Love to know what Phil thinks about, Eli against the Patriots." And then, somehow this company is able to filter it out and get those to us, and we can turn it around pretty quickly. We have to be careful. Our company had probably the biggest blunder in social media as of today. This biggest blunder in social media history is the Joe Paterno passing away. We tweeted out before he passed away that he had passed away, and it was a very embarrassing moment for all of us, and it came through our digital department, but it affects all of us because we're all now cross-platform. It's not just CBSSports.com, it's CBS Sports, and we've got to make sure we don't react too quickly in the social media world. We're still a media business that people look to and respect, and we've got to make sure we're doing the right thing, and we're checking our sources.
When you describe standing in a room with 50 TV monitors, you sort of become the envy of every man who's
Yeah.
in an appliance store with that wall of TVs, wanting to have like a single remote. But I wonder how you describe the decision-making process on, what really gets coverage, what gets aired, what gets shown. Is it sort of a second thing? Is it pre-planned? Is it a single person, or is there sort of a group that does it?
Each game has a core group. Each event that's covered, a basketball game, there's a producer, director, associate director, what we call a broadcast associate, and 2 announcers. This core group. And we expand upon that. We might add another associate producer, we might add another BA. They spend the week. This is another thing that differentiates CBS from, let's say, an ESPN or Comcast Sports or an MSG. We're focused on that one game all week. This core group, they're going to meetings with the players and the coaches. They're developing their storylines throughout the week. They're looking at videotape. All of our guys love to look at videotape to see trends and how they might cover in the paint or what type of play they run in the 2-minute drill. So they build all this knowledge up, and as the game progresses, they tap into that knowledge, or they might see a trend on the field. But a lot of what our guys, it's through experience. Over the years, they've developed this experience on how to go to a replay. What is the best angle? Well, you know what? The guy has just run we'll back up a step. We train our cameramen. We give them situationals, we call it. Okay, there's a goal line situation. Okay, if there's a goal line situation, there's a certain camera that focuses on the quarterback. There's a certain camera that focuses on the middle of the field. There's a certain camera that focuses on the wide receiver and the tight end, another one that might focus on the deep safety. So they're in situationals. If you're in the middle of the field, you're in a different situation. If you're 3 wide, you're going to isolate the receivers. If you've got a guy like Tebow who always runs, and they might have what they call a spy linebacker who's always following him, well, you're going to put cameras on those 2 guys. So you develop these storylines during the week, and then when you get into the game, you know that, okay, that was a Tebow run. You know Tebow is on camera number 3. That's his camera. That's the Tebow camera, camera 3. And you go to that replay. The tape guys know, the camera guys know. We cue it up, right before the snap or right before the hit, and okay, let's go to, and our replay devices, and we're really starting to get technical, is our replay devices aren't named camera one, aren't named 1, 2, 3. They're actually named by letters, so you don't get confused. A director deals with cameras. Director says, okay, camera 1, give me a tight shot, take 1. Camera 2, get ready, take 2. The producers do the replays, so you don't want to get confused. Oh, cue up number 1. So what they do is letters. Hey, cue up A, cue up B, cue up Z, cue up X, Y. They give the replay devices letters. So Tom Brady replay device might be, his isolated replay might be A. Cue up A, okay, good, and let's go to that replay. So in the truck, the decisions are made about the replays, the graphics, the shots that are being taken. Back in my master control room, we're looking at big picture stuff. I know going in on all my games what the storylines are, and maybe they're not focusing enough on a certain storyline. And I will remind them, or I will tell them during the game, hey, we need to see more of Tom Brady. We're not seeing enough of him. So, is the storyline always Tebow? Oh man, he's been unbelievable. It was an incredible wave of fan outcry to see Tebow. And yes, we do listen. We do listen to social media. We do listen to the fans. And he was a story. People wanted to see Tebow, so you know what? We're going to show them Tebow. We're going to put our best crew on there. We're going to put our best cameras. We're going to put everything we can and throw it at it. And we're going to show you Tebow. We're going to put it in the best time slot that we can. And we got the best ratings. For that Denver-New England game, what was that, week 14 or so? Incredible 4:30 game on the East Coast, a little cold around here. Everybody loved it. So.
Just to follow up on the Tebow, I read in the media, which we know we can't trust, the print media, that the Tebow religious kneeling was asked to be limited on television. And is that true or false? And is that a CBS decision or an NFL decision?
If it was asked, it never got to me. And one great thing about the NFL, they do not dictate what we show during the game. The NFL does protect their product, and there are certain restrictions. You will never see hard liquor. You will never see gambling ads. That's because the NFL doesn't want that associated with the game, even though everybody bets on the NFL. That's what's driving one of the things that drives the NFL is fantasy football. But anyway, so they did not. No, they didn't. They did not bring up anything about religion and tell us we can't cover it. Actually, I thought those were great moments, and we try to show more of it. You see a guy that's so passionate about what he believes, so passionate about the game. That's who he is, and we tried to show that absolutely. But no one told us we couldn't. Very good question. Masters, Augusta, how do we incorporate new things to keep that mystique, keep that aura? Augusta's a little bit different, the Masters. The people at Augusta feel like it's their responsibility as well to keep that mystique, that aura about it, about the Masters. So they're heavily involved. It's the one event where you see the caretakers of the event actually come into our meetings, into our trucks, and give us suggestions. We normally don't see that. But it's through planning. We know what the mystique is. We do things like you never see just little things. You never see the surrounding area of Augusta National. Outside of Augusta, it's just gorgeous, one of the best golf courses in the world. It's azaleas blooming and babbling brooks and pine trees. Outside of it, it's like Route 1. It's like City Line. Is that what you call that? It's like Route 1. I mean, there's Kentucky Fried Chicken and Hooters, and you would go, oh my God. So you never see that. So we take little things like that. The tone of the music. You never hear big blaring music. It's always very soft and gentle. We try to keep that going. Just little things like to help create that aura. And again, they help us. I don't know how they do it, but the course is perfectly manicured. The grass is cut perfectly. The azaleas, they're always blooming. There's never a tree out of place. Sigette. Do we have a camera that follows Tiger around? It depends on the event. When Tiger was in his heyday, and he unfortunately he's dropped, but yes, during his heyday, I mean, from 2000 to whatever, I guess it was 2008, 2009, whenever he had this, it was Thanksgiving in 2008. Yeah, every event, we didn't miss a shot of Tiger. He was going to do something spectacular, just like Tebow. We had, even though you didn't see him on the whole time, we had a camera on Tebow the whole time in case he did something. Yes. So the question is, how do ESPN has great synergy across all of their different outlets, ABC, all their 8 different, ESPN networks, their radio. They've got everything that they cross promote over. They do a great job. They are by far the leader in that, and we do find it difficult at times to match that level, and that's why I was saying this is kind of the next stage. We're old school media, and we're evolving, and we've realized we have to keep evolving to stay, up here, and we're trying to figure out how this going across platforms, across networks, how this works, and we're doing a pretty good job, but we're not like ESPN. We're not going full steam ahead. We're just kind of taking it slow and making sure we do it right. But it's a good question. I will admit that ESPN does one thing better than us, and that's they promote better across platforms. In the back, standing up. Right. Okay. The question is, have we thought about baseball? And really, does it apply to any other sports? How do we get our rights, and how do we decide what we air? We have talked about baseball. What we found with baseball, baseball has developed into a very regional sport. It's very tough to take games national. So, Philly fans, they're based in this area, and Dodger fans are in LA, and they've developed the local markets so well, so strong, that summer baseball doesn't get the ratings that we would want on a national level. So that means then we wouldn't get the advertisers, and so we wouldn't make the money, so it wouldn't be worth it for us. So we have done the exploration into that, and it just doesn't work for us. We can't, baseball, you make the money during the playoffs. And for us, it's in October. And we don't want to give up any NFL weekends. We don't want to give up any NFL games because NFL is still the #1 sport. So we said, you know what, we're going to stay away from baseball. We used to cover NASCAR, which was great. I love NASCAR. I worked on several Daytona 500s, and it was a sport that NBC and Fox and Turner and ESPN all realized, oh my God, CBS has got kind of a gem there. We're going to jump in, and then they jumped in, and we lost it. And NASCAR got smart. What we would do, we could only broadcast at certain times of year. We could do NASCAR events in February. We could do them in April, May, June, July, but we couldn't do them continuously. So they said, you know, we're gonna do what the NFL does. We're gonna break our package up. We're gonna give some to cable, some to networks, and we're gonna do it seasonal. So there's NASCAR's got a kind of a winter, spring season that one network has, and then a summer season, midsummer that Turner picks up, and then a fall season that another network picks up. It just didn't work for us. Again, financially, we might explore it in the future, but right now it doesn't work. We would love to get another summer sport. You're right, our summer is kind of, there's a lull. All we cover is golf. We'd love to put another sport in there. We don't have one that fits with us right now. Olympics. Olympics, I'd love the Olympics. I've worked on 2 Olympics. That's one of the greatest experiences, one of the greatest events. Anybody has an opportunity to do it, you should do it. Go out, you can be a runner, you can be a logger, you know, just reach out to the NBC guys and see if you can get on them. Again, that came down to money. The bottom line was money. We didn't see the value, and it also ran into our U.S. Open tennis coverage. So we were going to have to, you know, adjust the U.S. Open, which was fine. We would have done it. We would have moved it or, you know, changed the schedule. But financially, again, it's in the billions of dollars and what NBC is paying, and which is great. NBC Comcast now has so many platforms. They've got Versus, which is now the NBC Sports Network. They've got CNBC, MSNBC. They've got USA. They've got all these platforms they can monetize over. We can't do that. We've only got CBS Sports Network, and Showtime. We don't have. I think NBC has about Comcast. NBC has about 10 outlets right now. Golf Channel as well. So they've got all these things. So it came down to money, and we couldn't afford it.
We've got time for about 1 or 2 more questions. So if you have one,
I have 2 questions. One, are you still partnered actually with Time Warner?
Yes. This was the first year of a 14-year deal we did with Turner.
I was reading an article for my sports media place that Time Warner was trying to get in the industry with sports, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. I think they're I guess the first step is getting rights and stuff like this. And, would you help Time Warner with something like that, like in the process of making them?
Well, they're still a competitor of ours. It's a very odd thing. Time Warner is a competitor. Would we help them get rights? We'd go into a partnership if we're going to make money, if it's going to help us, but we're not going to say to them, oh, you know, we're not going to help you negotiate or kind of give you, you know, a leg in the door. The only way we do it is if we get something out of it. But they're one of the top companies. You know, they're one of our competitors, so it's tough to do that. I saw one in the back. No, all right. Down in the front.
Is there a reason why there's no NBA on CBS?
Yeah. Again, a lot of this, it's the same thing as the Olympics and as NASCAR, as baseball. It comes down to money. Can we make money off of it? And we just felt that we weren't going to make any money off of the rights fees that they were asking for the NBA. We're going to go back when the contract comes up again. We'll revisit it. Maybe there's a portion of it. Maybe they say, hey, you take the Eastern Conference Finals, and somebody else will take the West, and then alternate who gets the NBA championship. You know, maybe we would do that. But right now, to try to get the entire NBA, well, we wouldn't pick it up until after. Which it mattered. We wouldn't pick it up till mid-April because we wouldn't want to blow out the tournament, the NCAA tournament, and the Masters. So the timing and money, but it's something we'll take a look at. So that's it. And they finally got into it. Oh, they're starting to ask a bunch of questions. I had another DVD I want to show you, but I don't know if we got enough time. 2.5 minutes. All right. Okay, I got to figure out how to open this up here. Oh, he's a union guy? All right. So, yeah. No, that's it. I got it. Yeah, yeah. So, as you guys are leaving, this DVD is about a little bit behind the scenes and a little bit about the partnership with Turner that we did on the tournament. You'll see a lot of the stuff we do behind the scenes. As long as it plays.
The 2011 NCAA men's basketball tournament was presented to viewers in a whole new way this year. Each game was telecast in its entirety across 4 networks: CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. Fans at home could be their own producer and for the first time decide on which game they wanted to watch. Behind the scenes, hundreds of men and women worked tirelessly to bring these unforgettable images into living rooms across the world. The nerve centers of this year's tournament were Studio 43 in New York and Studio J in Atlanta, along with the pregame, halftime, and